Hi, this is John from bestmusic.ie and we're lucky enough to have Adam Ironside from Daddario UK with us.
Not sure about lucky, but thanks guys, thanks for having us.
This episode is all about cables and specifically American Stage from Daddario. We'll touch on a couple of the other ones that they do, but we really want to talk to you about how good these cables really are. Adam, fill us in on the genius that is American Stage cables.
In a cable, what I'm looking for is the cable that sounds right,
okay,
and the cable that is gonna last the longest, right? It's the most durable.
Yeah. So there's your value aspect of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Buy cheap, buy twice. I'm sure you have that saying in Ireland as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's international. Absolutely. If you buy something at a price point, it might suit for a while, but you'll end up replacing it.
Exactly.
Okay. Which is not the case with these.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the first thing I can say is in regards to the kind of durability of it is it's virtually bulletproof. Please don't fire bullets at it, but it's virtually bulletproof.
No bullets, please.
Whenever you kind of break a guitar cable or it starts going intermittent or something.
Yes.
Made up figure, 90% of the time.
Perfect.
That's usually where the actual cable is soldered to the connector. That actual soldering joint where it can go cold or it can break, get dirty, becomes intermittent. That's where it breaks.
So the cable comes in and is attached directly to the
inside of the plug. Exactly.
Okay. We
kind of accidentally invented a way of sort of semi-welding the connector on. So normally if you make your own cables or you check out most cables on the market, if you were to kind of unscrew the jacket like that, unscrew the plug and have a look, there's a single kind of almost blob, like a Hershey's Kiss type shape of solder where the cable is soldered to the connector.
Okay.
Fine in 95% of applications.
Okay.
What we've done is actually solder 180 degrees the backside of the cable to there.
Okay.
We put this in a machine. It's basically like a stress tester. And what we found was that from all the cables we tested, this was the strongest cable on the market.
Okay.
So if you try to, and I don't want to do this to your cable, but maybe I'll find a demo unit. If you try to break that solder joint with your hands, it's nigh on impossible. It's just not going to break away. Okay. So it's super strong. It means that if you accidentally kind of tread on the cable, chances are you're not going to...
wrapping your cables at the end of the night, or if your guitar falls and the jack is at the bottom of it, say on a telly style, and it bangs off, it's...
Exactly.
It's stronger.
Exactly. It's so much stronger as well. Unbelievably strong.
So it's virtually welded rather than just a dot of solder.
It's somewhere in between soldering and welding. Exactly. And it's super strong connection. Try that out for yourself for sure.
Yeah. And we have them on the website if you want to buy them and try to destroy them. Yeah, no problem.
The next thing is I have kind of a personal long story behind this as well.
Okay.
I used to have this guitar, and every time I plugged in a cable, I would get like a crackling noise. And I thought, I can't be breaking cables all this often. I wonder what's going on here. Yeah. And it turned out that, like anything in life, the actual jack socket was manufactured to a tolerance, and this one had been made slightly oversized. It was slightly large. Yeah. So what we did was we came up with this patented design that we call the Geotip.
Yes.
And Neutrik, who are probably the premium manufacturer of plugs, make this cable exclusively for us. Okay. Essentially what we've done is redesign the kind of tip of the plug. So it's ever so slightly kind of larger, ever so slightly more extended. Yes. What that means is when it fits into a socket, that even if the socket is slightly smaller than it should be or slightly larger than it should be, you're going to get a very secure connection. Okay. You can actually feel that when you pop it into a guitar, you get a satisfying kind of click. Okay. And it feels really secure, but at the same time, it isn't locked. It's not difficult to pull out. Should you need to pull
so
it out.
Essentially, you're getting more surface contact from the tip of the guitar cable to the input of your guitar.
Exactly.
So it's more stable. You get less chance of separating, so you don't get cracking and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, so that's an incredible piece of technology.
Yeah, man. So and it's such kind of an obvious design. It's amazing we hadn't thought of it before, right? Yeah. So it's virtually indestructible. It's got the most secure connection. Okay. Of any kind of plug design, any cable design we've certainly come up with. And finally, it sounds perfect. Okay. So you may not know, or listeners, watchers may not know that cables have a sound. Okay. There's a lot of kind of science behind it, but essentially the way I like to picture it is imagine that you have a big long piece of cable. This cable does not want to pass your guitar signal from one end to the other. It will do everything it can to stop that signal getting there. What happens is you notice what's commonly called as tone suck, signal degradation. Yeah. High ends rolled off, the low ends kind of rolled up and rolled away. Okay. Mid kind of passes through unchallenged most of the time.
So you're getting you're trying to get a big signal through a small hole.
Through a straw.
Yeah, through a straw, and you're losing. So it's trying to push your hose through a straw. So you lose. You lose tops, you lose bottoms, but the kind of middle bit gets through.
Exactly. So you get a very narrow picture of what your guitar actually sounds like. That's how I describe it.
And that's the tone suck that you might see in cheaper cables.
Exactly.
And let me guess, it does not happen with American Stage.
Exactly. So we specifically kind of tuned the cable to a certain capacitance per foot.
Okay.
Let's not go into that. But basically, we originally made a far more transparent cable.
Okay.
And we had a load of musicians plug into it and they go, oh, we want to hear our guitar. We want the most transparent tone possible.
Yes.
Plugged into the cable, and most of them are like, it's too bright. That's not what my guitar sounds like. So it turns out we actually don't want transparency. We don't want all that treble that's associated with the guitar.
Yeah.
So we performed an experiment where we basically had like a variable impedance box, and we had the same players kind of play through, and then sort of blindfolded in another room, we tweaked the impedance. We found it was about 85% of players all stopped at the same amount and went, yep, that's the perfect amount. So we tuned the cable to have that level of capacitance. It's far brighter and far more transparent than a lot of cables on the market. But I call it kind of like it's tuned for like optimum frequency response. So it's not perfectly transparent, but this is what your guitar sounds like.
Yes, yeah. It's the closest sound to your guitar. So this cable is going to represent what your guitar sounds like.
Absolutely.
Now, is that from cable to guitar to amp, or are we talking about the signal path? So you're going through pedals, you're going through...
Yeah.
So does it combat the pedal board issue of somebody using that one's on a battery, that one's on a 9-volt plug, that one's 18 volts, so it still has that.
It certainly can. I mean, we also have American Stage patch cables as well that you can use. A lot of people will often use an American Stage or an expensive cable as the first cable, and it's arguably the most important cable.
Okay.
But then on the pedal board of 20 pedals, they'll have really cheap cables. Wonder why they're getting a lot of hum, a lot of buzz, and why the tone's generally like really dark. You know.
Yes.
So experiment with that, and you can actually use kind of. The different cables in our range have different capacitances, so you can use generally the cheaper ones are going to be slightly darker sounding.
Yes.
So you can actually kind of tweak the final stages of your rig with actually how dark or bright the cable sounds.
Okay. That is like the uber end of nerdism.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But it's potential. You can do it if you want, and that's what the Daddario is all about. If you want it, you can do it that way. So they want you to have what you want, essentially.
Absolutely. And the final thing to say about American Stage is it's by far the easiest cable that I've ever tried to coil.
Okay.
So it has an amazing memory, and it's to do with kind of the design of the jacket as well.
Yeah.
But basically, the cable will have a memory of roughly this shape. So you don't bend it around your elbow and risk crimping or damaging the cable.
Yeah.
If you just naturally take the cable and just naturally kind of fold it, it will return to its original kind of position.
Okay.
And they all come with this handy little kind of cable clip as well.
So it's easy to pack away.
I'm happy to say this is by far the best cable on the market.
Okay.
I outdid my whole rig with all of these
Stage.
Cables after having kind of used other brands and made my own cables as well for years.
Yes.
And you know what? Daddario can do it better than I can do it.
Yeah, and they do it at a good value point.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So they are almost bulletproof. Don't fire any weapons. They have an incredibly strong welding / solder point.
Yeah.
The tip of it has more contact with the inside of your guitar, and the actual cable itself has a memory point where it goes back to its natural and safe state.
Absolutely.
And it's transparent in tone to a certain point.
Absolutely, as well as having that kind of optimum kind of tonal transfer.
Well, there's not much more you can say about them. They are, for a player who wants to buy a cable that's good, they're good value. If you do 1 gig and you spend €30 on a cable, if you do 2 gigs, it's €15. If you do 10 gigs, it's €3. So the longer that you take care of the cable, and this one is easy to take care of, the better it is, the better value it is in the long term. So buy cheap, buy twice. Buy good American Stage cables. They are made in America. That's why they're American Stage. They're not cheap, but they're not expensive if you use them over a long period and you take care of your cables. Thank you, Adam, for coming into us and telling us about the American Stage cables. If you'd like to know any more about them, check out our website, bestmusic.ie. We will also put links into the Daddario YouTube page that has the cables being taken apart and some more about the technology that's in them. Do hit the like button, do subscribe. Don't forget to check out Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media pages. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. This is still rolling, right? Yeah.